Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Only Murders in the Building, Season 5.
The hit Hulu original is back.
The night Lester died, he was talking with this mobster.
Was he killed in a hit?
We need to go face to face with the mob.
Get ready for a season
Buongiorno, signore!
Oh, this is how I die.
you can't refuse.
You're gonna save the day, like you always do, by being smart, sharp, and almost always by mistake.
The Hulu original series, Only Murders in the Building, premieres September 9. Streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply. New episodes Tuesdays.
Hello and welcome to Shite Talk, an Irish history podcast. We've got a live show coming up on the 25th of November as part of the Jonathan Swift Festival with the Crackden Comedy Club in the main room in Workman's down on the Quays in Dublin. Tickets should be on sale, if not today, definitely by tomorrow. And we should have a very special guest, which we'll announce in a couple of days once we're all confirmed for that. But it's going to be fun. And that's the end of the intro because you can tell I've got a chest infection. And that's the end of the intro because you can probably tell I've got a chest infection and I'm going back to bed. Enjoy the episode, and maybe if you haven't listened to the Muhammad Ali one, do that first for more background about one of today's main characters, Butty Sugrue. Right, go on, good luck, enjoy.
Gather around now, you're in for a story. Old tales of lore, all in search of a glory. The history and mystery of lads, lasses and all. The discoveries and voyages, the rise and the fall. Follow me now as we go back in time. We trace the steps of Irish lineage to find. Joseph from Carlo and Kevin the dog. Guide you through the ways of Shite Talk.
July 27th, 1924, Gortnaskerry, County Limerick. Michael Sugrue was one of 6 children born to Daniel Sugrue and Hannah Riley. His father worked as a labourer, and his son, Michael, wouldn't be far off from picking up work as a turf cutter at a young age.
Well, 1924, and you've got the mother's name on record. Mm-hmm. That's good going.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That means this man made a mark in history.
That is true, yeah.
There's no word of how impressive he was as a turf cutter, but he shocked the other lads he worked with by his amazing feats of strength. Also, we'd covered this guy in the Muhammad Ali episode, so anyone who's listening to... This is Butty Sugrue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the strong man. We're going to tell the story of him now. So I already gave a description of him. This is just a longer version.
What was his filming again there? What was he doing?
I'm going to fill you in now over the next hour.
You going to touch back in the Ali stuff?
Barely.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
all right.
Because we have a whole episode out there about Ali on the regular. This is also on the free feed.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a whole episode about Ali. Just a couple of episodes, just pre-Dev.
Scroll back past Dev.
Yeah,
him there between.
Back to the good stuff.
DeLorean, Ali, Dev.
But Buddy he was shocking all the other turf cutters because at lunchtime or on their break, and I assume during when he's meant to be working as well, he's just showing off how strong he is, lifting people up.
Yeah.
Cutting giant sods of turf. It just said amazing feats of strength.
Right.
But also because he goes on to be a showman in the circus, it's a lot of the words feats of strength.
Okay.
So I don't want to just keep saying that, but I will.
Yeah. Were you saying there's a lot of L lads just saying, I was there cutting turf with Sugrue. You should have seen the feats of strength he was up to. But maybe he was just... A lot of people bandwagoning.
Well, yeah.
Instead half a carry was cutting turf with him.
Well, it's like it doesn't matter what celebrity in the world you say. My Auntie Mary will say, I used to pick potatoes with his granny. It could be anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably did, though.
Pedro Pascal, she's like, funny little thing about him.
You'll never, yeah. I tell you, he's all well and good in Hollywood. His grandmother couldn't pick potatoes worth shite.
Yeah. He was a showman before Ireland knew what that was. Yeah. Michael's first foray into the limelight was during lunch breaks and the downtime. That Michael he started showing off his physical prowess to the other lads the only way an Irish man could. Not by cutting turf, better than the rest of them, but by lifting up all of his friends and beating them in arm wrestling competitions.
Yeah.
2 of the best ways to show how strong you are.
For sure.
Lifting you up, maybe a squat, maybe squat a man.
Yeah.
And then arm wrestle him.
And then arm wrestle him.
I'd say both at the same time.
Yeah. I'd say the foreman was extremely pissed off with this distraction of work.
No turf was getting
No turf was getting caught. Instead, he'd walk up to Sugrue and be like, "You call that a forearm? This is a forearm." and
then loses.
Yeah,
He's like, "Okay, do you know what? Everyone else back to work.
Yeah.
Butty, go back to the chair." Well, you suppose you could call down. Oh, that'd be great. So you could just call if the foreman was annoyed, you could just be like, "Well, we've got Butty here, so if there's anyone who's ever done you wrong, anyone who's ever done you a bad turn, bring him down here, and we'll have Butty challenge him, and we'll make a show of him in front of men because he's a kid." He's a young lad.
Okay, yeah.
He's young here. So that's why it's so impressive.
Yeah.
Also because he's very short. I think I don't know if he's fully grown at this stage, but he's not a tall man. I'd say he's about 5'3", maybe 5'2".
A fine height.
A good size, especially for back then. A giant amongst men.
Well, I like how your mind went to revenge there. How would that work exactly? Like if he was refused a loan at the bank.
Bring the bank manager down.
Everyone's snickering him back in the kitchen, and everybody's getting glances from all the tellers. He's like, "Here, come here. I know you're working, but come down to my farm. Come down to my farm and I'll show you how profitable it is. And while we're there, here's a teenager I'd like you to meet and wrestle. But wait until all the lads are around. And also...
Fool proof.
Yeah. All the women that turned me down in secondary school. Get them down here.
Get their husbands down.
Get their husbands down here. Yes.
And their sons. And their sons' sons.
I've got a man that needs to do a lot of wrestling.
But as much as the lads would love to see him hang around and continue to be their friend at lunchtime and do all these amazing feats and entertain them, they knew Butty was destined for more. He has aspirations of being a strongman.
Oh, yes.
Competing with the biggest, strongest men in Ireland and becoming the country's premier weightlifter.
If you love something, you have to let it go. He's meant for better things.
Let him go and lift weights in the army, because that's what his plan is. That there's only one way to achieve. I was going to say achieve the goal. I think there's only one place that would have weights at the time, and it's probably the army.
The army.
To go do some physical fitness. It's the early 40s. The emergency was going on, I assume, because it says it's the early 40s. So.
Good time to join the army. And it'll be mostly just lifting things I'll be doing. Yes, of course, son. No, no problem. Have you been reading the newspapers by a chance? Not much of a reader myself. Excellent. Right through here to the dumbbell room.
Well, I just feel like that's all he did, because he focuses solely on getting shocking fit. Butty packed on the muscle, and legend of his strength travels around the army and further afield into other fields.
So
it was
a buzz for the length and breadth of the army. All 5 of them. They were... You couldn't contain the excitement.
His notoriety spreads.
Yeah.
And Butty, so much so that he was offered a place in Duffy's Circus, Ireland's main circus.
Yes.
If you don't include Fawcett's, Gerbola, all the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be shot now because I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's Fawcett's. I think they were in our primary school for a while.
Yeah. Oh, they're the people, the kids.
The kids, yeah.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
You think they'd be travelling around?
They were. That's why they were in it for a while. But I think my sister was in. It was definitely one of the kids of the circus families. I think it was Fawcett's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we would have seen Fawcett's is a big one. I'd never heard of
a big one.
Gerbola. That's no. I don't know if it's just Dublin or where it is, but the Duffys I would have heard of.
Yeah.
But it's still going today. You still see signs for it.
I'd be keen to see a circus now.
We should go.
We should go.
We should have got this sponsored.
Fuck. Well, just out of... Like, in our lifetime, they've had to lose, arguably, most of the things people would have gone to a circus for. Like, all the animal stuff, that's gone.
That has to be gone. Yeah.
All the bits where people are in any genuine danger. I'd say that a lot of the thrill of a travelling circus was, like, the reason they're travelling is to keep one step ahead of the law a lot of the time.
Yeah, well...
Not anymore.
Funny that you say that now, because... the Duffy Circus, that was a...
Yeah, none of these circuses have ever done anything wrong, by the way.
Well, I know about that, but I know that I looked into them a bit, because they're going... The Duffy's one was going 250 years.
All right.
It's a long-standing thing, but you check their Wikipedia page, and there's only a couple of lines. It's only like one paragraph over 250 years, but then they have one thing that says the Donegal incident.
Well, who is this, the Guinness family? 250 years, not a single scandal. Funny enough, when there's lots of dynasties, especially with businesses handed down father to son, that sort of stuff, a lot of rich nephews hanging around with not much to do, heading off to Congo. No, that really happened with Guinness family, actually.
Well, actually, the Duffy Circus was it was handed down to two heirs, and they split apart because they'd have fallen out.
What?
But
A family feud over land.
But there's
in Donegal.
over no land. Would be over travelling circuses.
Okay.
But they would have set up their own separate circuses.
Oh.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Donegal, in 2018, a trapeze artist fell through the net and landed on an audience member, and they both had to go to hospital. So
What?
So,
what do you mean? Why?
he was
the trapeze fell through his net. But why is the audience under the net?
Because the net's there. That's the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
You can see it live.
It's like the splash zone. Yeah.
You pay extra for that.
Yeah, okay.
But the net breaks and someone gets injured. No one dies.
Yeah.
But
okay.
after 250 years and only one paragraph, then the next paragraph is the Donegal incident.
The only, fucking hell.
But Butty would tour with the Duffy Circus for a number of years, travelling the length and breadth of the country, wowing onlookers with his skill.
They didn't have nets back then.
They didn't need them.
No, or soft people to write Wikipedia articles when everybody's...
Yeah, what they had was people who could keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, paid off by
and a lack of records. But the show would open up with an accordion player floating in the sky, surrounded by smoke, dry ice, I suppose. And as all of that would slowly clear and dissipate, you'd see that the accordion player was sat on a chair, being held up by Butty's teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, Butty was lifting lads with his teeth.
Yeah.
And I've seen videos of it. I'll show you videos after.
There's videos of it.
He's been getting his teeth into things for years. He can take on a motorbike for breakfast. Butty Sugrue, licensee of the Admiral Nelson in Kilburn, now takes on a barrel of beer weighing 2 1/4 hundredweight. Butty, born in County Kerry, has never eaten anything cooked. He claims that raw meat and vegetables are the secret of his strength.
But now you've seen...
because I was going to call you out on... Because initially in the footage it looked like the chair was just balanced on his head, but then... No, he's full on just biting the chair.
He's biting the chair and
lifting it above his head.
And he's leaning back at an angle, so I suppose the legs of the chair, or some of the weight is going on to his chest.
Yeah.
It's probably going into his ribs. Probably not very comfortable.
No, but there's no doubt that the teeth are very much involved there.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
So
that's very impressive.
Yeah, that's how Buddy's teeth are very strong, and there's more. We'll get to that soon.
I feel like I'd like to see that today. You know?
Yeah, it's still good.
Yeah,
and you don't need a net for that.
No, you don't need a net.
Dentist maybe, but he's
a man willing to risk his life for, I'm assuming, very little to no pay.
You want to be paid very little but work almost every day of the year.
And get to see the highlights of this country from Kerry to Donegal.
Yeah, but you'll play to giant fucking crowds of tens of people.
Up and down the length and breadth of the country.
But once he'd do that act, and then that's the beginning of the show, he'd lower down the accordion player, and the announcer would declare Butty Ireland's strongest man, and Butty would launch into other acts never seen before, never dared on an Irish stage. Things like lifting 102 kilos attached to the axle of a cart, and if that didn't impress him, he'd take off the weight off the cart, and he'd he'd first offer men to come up and say, if you don't think that's good, you try it, and they wouldn't be able to do it, and then he'd get up to 10 men.
Yes.
And he'd put them into the back of the cart, he'd take off the weights, he'd put 10 men in the cart, and he'd just lift them up and walk around the tent, slash outside of it, and do that. Using only his teeth.
That's,
Again, strong neck on this fella. He got the name Butty for a reason. He's a short,
butted man.
Stout man.
Yeah.
But even though he was a teetotaler, I believe.
Was he?
I think so.
I thought he was a big drinker.
No, he was a big publican. But he did, like all smart publicans, didn't get drunk on his own supply.
There's two types of publicans, alcoholics and teetotalers. A wise man told us that. Not drinking the head of himself. But that seems to be a key part of all this strongman stuff, because you really need to... I like that element of like coaxing the men down to make a fool of themselves.
Yes, pick really small, thin lads.
Yes.
Because then they won't be able to lift it, and also probably less for you to lift then after when you tell them to hop in the back of the cart.
It's a smart move.
This was more than likely a skill he learned from Tom Duffy, who himself, before...
Of Duffy Circus.
Yeah, Duffy Circus. Before him and his brother had fallen out, Tom would swing his brother from the trapeze 40 feet in the air with only a leather strap attached, just clenched into his mouth. People are shocked by the weight that your neck/teeth could hold.
Yeah.
This was he passed on that skill. He handed it down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at him, he's got the
frame for it.
Yeah, I remember seeing footage of I think there were Samoan rugby players, but there was like a massage to like get the cracks out of their necks.
Oh, right.
But it was basically just like putting a strap around their neck and like
just going
just like swinging it and then just like the same maneuver that would probably
kill
capitate, or certainly injure me or you. But yeah, if you got the stout neck from it, maybe you can swing a man.
But Tom Duffy would have. That's how he got the name, the boy with the iron jaw.
Okay,
he was doing the trapeze act,
right?
But,
it's not his teeth or whatever. Okay,
no, it's not.
No,
but his brother got the boy with the iron teeth.
Yeah,
moniker. But the circus gave him a chance to gain experience of performing constantly, to cut his teeth, as it were. Also performing to big enough crowds or whatever. But the big takeaway was that he learned that you can't just be a performer; you need to be a showman. Something different, a little pizzazz, a razzmatazz.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, did you just start talking about stand-up comedy there for a second? Working all the time, performing to small audiences, getting paid an experience, and eventually after all of it, learning doesn't matter shit.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're good at it, you have to go be a showman.
Parlay that into something else that people care about. But my favourite part of the Duffy Circus wasn't any of those parts. I was just reading into it a little bit. There was a separate little tent that you go to, and it was called The Biggest Ass in the World.
Okay.
And it wasn't a donkey.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't a woman. Well, it was for the low price of 1 shilling you could pay to find out, and you'd walk through a curtain, and inside into that room there'd be 2 lads holding up a mirror. And then every lad would go, geez, I know, I thought that was good. You got me there.
But which of you 2 lads is? It
was me all along.
'Tis the queer smart box you are.
The father was right.
The father, yeah.
But you can't stay in one field too long.
Sorry, that's a great bit.
It's really
why the tent that says the biggest ass, and there's just a mirror.
Yeah, you walk inside, you pay your money, you walk inside. It's very cheap.
Yeah,
you walk inside, and it's just you.
And of course,
you walk outside, and you don't say, you don't tell anyone, or else they won't go in, and then you will be an ass.
Yeah, you walk out and you have to stare at the person in the queue after you and say.
There was no mirror when I got in there.
Yeah. What mirror?
Yeah. It's a picture of you big gobshite. But Buddy decides you got to keep moving upwards. The circus can't hold him down. Mm-hmm. It's not big enough. And what art form produces the greatest showman of all time, Kevin?
Other than the circus at this time? I don't know.
Professional wrestling.
Of course.
And pub owning.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Buddy moves to London and opened up a chunk of pubs. There was Elephant's Head in Camden, Wellington Arms in Shepherd's Bush, Admiral Nelson in Kilburn. He'd have gyms and pubs all over, as I was saying. And he'd get crowds in by showcasing more amazing feats of strength, like pulling a bus across the River Thames with his teeth. I think he did that on O'Connell Bridge as well.
No one cared till he did it in London.
Exactly.
Yeah, he pulled
Then he came back, sold it out instantly.
Oh, I heard he's very good.
Yeah. 5 stars. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. It's fucking pathetic.
He'd also be holding a motorbike still with a lad revving the engine.
Yeah, which you did show me. That's very impressive.
Yeah, that is very. And the rope breaks because Buddy's too strong. He definitely.
There's certainly some bit of showman magic in there, but still
still very
regardless.
Good.
Yeah.
And he'd also keep lifting people up with his teeth.
Of course.
Because you do that in pubs. Anything like that you could do in a pub.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the video on CR Video Vaults of your man who is able to balance a pint on the back of his head and sit down and do like a push-up?
No.
Or he goes down and picks up a box of matches with his teeth on the ground and then gets back up and
his pint's gone.
Doesn't know...
Oh, there's trick in the book.
Pint disappeared.
Yeah.
No, he gets back up and he doesn't spill a bit of the... And RTE News have gone down to interview. That's the segment that they did. It's not my favourite one. My favourite one is the man who made the electric bar stool. And he strapped an engine to the bar stool.
Around.
Yeah, and the news to go down and tell everyone.
What do you mean have to?
Yeah, they got to.
They got to, yeah.
But
September 11th, 2001... He used to be dispatched to a pub in rural Sligo.
They really tried to bury that story.
Yeah.
But also that lad who puts the pint on his head.
Oh, yeah.
Is like, he's definitely just been left on his head too long as a baby. He's definitely just
got a bit of a
flat head.
Yeah.
So he's got a completely flat head.
Yeah.
And he's like, look what I've learned how to do. You're like,
the way you said that implies that there's a correct amount of time to leave a baby on their head.
There is.
What? How? Yeah.
You move them so they don't get a flat round. You have to keep moving them so it's even.
I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, you can't just leave them face like a head back, like face up the whole time. You got to roll them around so that they don't develop a fucking.
What is this? Mike and Vittorio's Guide to Parenting.
But all of these feats of strength, they'd get them onto TV, radio, into newspapers, not just local, big news like the BBC would see him.
They'd think I do realize the irony of giving out to the radio for we're doing the audio form. We're talking about his feats of strength through an audio medium. Again. It's not as impressive as TV makes sense.
But see, the TV does make sense, but if you heard
about... My God, you wouldn't believe your eyes if you were here, but you can certainly believe me telling you he's pulled a bus over a bridge.
Yeah.
And guess what, ladies? It's in London.
But if Butty's trying to sell pints and food in his pubs, what's better? To show someone... Because we saw it with Ali, we'll get to that later on. But if people have already they've seen him already, it's the idea of the mystery about it. If you see a photo of a lad doing something like that in the paper and someone describing it, you go, I still don't believe it. Let me go down and buy a pint and see it myself.
Yes.
If you hear a lad lifting someone with his seat on the radio, you're like, I don't believe it. I want to go down and see it myself. If you see a lad doing that on telly, you probably just get canned from the off license.
That's true.
Yeah,
you've already got the good.
But the Irish, he's an Irish lad, a local hero in London. So all the Irish lads are going down to the pub from far and wide, from East London to West London.
Talking about how rough it is over there for the Irish. They aren't given a fair shake of the stick. Someone eventually 4 pints in says, "Would you move home?" They said, "Would I fuck?"
Would I fuck?
That's the fucking hope.
It's the greatest country in the world.
Country in the world.
But people who want to go down, buy a pint, get food, and also he had, I think above most of the pubs, or at least some of them, he had weightlifting stations upstairs, and he'd train lads.
Yeah.
So a lot of lads were going down to learn how to kind of do, because he was doing some wrestling as well, I guess. So he would train lads up in that, which was kind of popular at the time, but also just weightlifting and getting physically fit.
Yeah.
So you could go down, lash a food and a couple of pints into you, go upstairs and lift some weights, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But by this time he was pretty famous around Ireland and England. So to cash in on that, he teamed up with another famous face, Jack Doyle, the gorgeous Gael.
Oh yes,
the boxer, singer, Hollywood movie star. The beautiful fella as well, 6'6", something like that. Just
handsome man.
He
has a couple of dodgy,
notorious alcoholic and absolute bastard. Yes. We'll do him as a full story
someday.
Yeah,
he came.
This year maybe actually. If I could, I'll put that on the list for sport. No, because we've got too much this season anyway. Next season, but the pair became close friends, and Buddy had the idea of fighting Jack, but instead of boxing, where he thought he'd have the advantage, how about to even the playing field, a wrestling match where Buddy would have the advantage?
Sure.
So the match took place in Killorglin in 1953.
Nice.
Yeah.
The home of K-Fest and the much more popular Puck Fair.
Oh, well, we'll get to that soon as well.
Oh,
that's coming up in this.
How are we going to get this goat up on top of this pole? The crane's broken. No normal man could lift it up there. And for some reason, it needs to be done by teeth.
Well, I'll tell you now, because it won't segue as easily in if I don't. But at first, I had read that he had tried to do an indoor puck fair.
Okay.
In one of the pubs.
Well, sorry, just to explain to the people at home who may not be as worldly as you or I, the Puck Fair.
You explain it to them there. For people out there who wouldn't be as worldly as you or I. No, they get a pole and they put a beam and they put a sheep on the top of it. It's kind of like our Groundhog Day or something, is it?
It's something like, I think it's a goat, but
it is.
Yeah, and they put it up on top of a big pole, and but it's neither a goat nor a sheep. It's meant to be the spirit of something or another, because it's magic basically, and that's how they got around animal cruelty laws for so long. But I think in recent times they have started to allow food, and I think they bring them down now at night.
Okay. How long is he meant to stay up there?
A couple of days.
Okay, we'll do an episode about the Puck Fair.
Yeah,
but
then doesn't the goat gets married to a girl in the town?
I believe so. Yeah. Or she's going to be the next one to be married. That she's
or something.
It's
kind of like a rose.
We'll do a thing about Irish traditions, and then because we already did the tall.
Because as insane as that is, what we described there, I think it's probably more insane.
Yeah, and also, how dare they ever try and take that away?
No, God, that's our culture.
But
it's not just all pints and shouting at the British. Yeah. Sometimes it's about putting a goat on top of a pole.
Sometimes we shout at a goat.
Yeah,
King Billy, that's what they called him.
Always comes back.
King Billy Goat.
Fucking hell.
But first I read that he was trying to do an indoor puck fair.
Yeah.
And then turns out that's not true. What they meant was he had a nightclub, because most places it closed pretty early. So a place for all the Irish to keep drinking late. He had a place called the Puck Fair.
Nice.
So at like midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever until 3 or 4, you could go down to this place. It's kind of a nightclub, but it's also probably just people inside smoking cigarettes and just drinking quietly in corners.
Sure.
But then I read further, and no, he did do an indoor Puck Fair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to work. I thought the Puck Fair just sounds like an old limerick of like, it's called it just sounds like the Fuck Fair. It's a late night club. Like, yeah, the Puck Fair, more like the Fuck Fair. I'm sure there's some sort of seedy remarks made at the time.
Pair,
the Fuck Pair,
swingers,
yeah.
or
exactly.
or
It's a swingers club.
yeah,
the Cuck Fair. But so he did try and do an indoor Puck
I
Fair.
think he did it. He didn't try. He fucking did.
He pulled it off.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, and that's why they did that once, and then they said, "Buddy, it's actually that's more cruelty to animals than putting it up on top of the pole." But back to the boxing or the wrestling match. It ends in the first round because Butty he comes out victorious. In fairness, he's the strongest man in the country, and he's very small.
The other guy's what? He's got a reach and he's a good boxer.
He's real tall.
Why would you think that he'd be able to wrestle a giant squat man?
A very small, very stout squat man who has a history of wrestling.
And I'm sure he could take a couple of punches in the face.
And by this stage, Jack Doyle wasn't boxing much anymore. He was an alcoholic who Butty was paying to sing in his pubs. He'd basically get paid in pints and a little bit of cash in his pocket to go around to all the pubs and sing, for about half an hour, an hour a night. And then you just drink that, and everyone would go, Jesus, that's Jack Doyle, let me shake his hand. And then by about the second or third weekend, you're like, Jack is back. Yes. I know you were married to whoever the fuck.
In another time, he'd be running for president.
Yeah, he did have I do remember, I forget, I haven't wrote it down, but I do know one of his famous exes, Butty had to go over and mediate because Jack was finished up with her and maybe something had gone on there. That'll come out in the proper Jack episode.
Yeah.
But Butty had to go over and be his Jack's enforcer or henchman as he went and had a sit down, clear the air meeting with Marlon Brando, who is now dating this lady. So there's photos there of Butty looking very happy. Besides, he's meant to be the enforcer, but he's like, Marlon Brando. So he's a great man for hanging out.
So you know, if it comes to it, I love Jack's back, no matter what. But just Mr. Brando, I thought you were very good.
He was a great man for publicity, and also no one is like, I'll get in a photo with this man, put that up in the pub. It'll be a big deal.
Forget about the context.
Forget about any of that.
I like that.
And if Jack gives out, I'll stop paying him to sing, and he needs that money for pints.
Yeah, fair enough.
But they said that he didn't take advantage of Jack, and it was more of like they were friends, but also he had no other. Jack had nothing else going on, so you kind of really did need this. So we'll throw the photo of Butty and Marlon up somewhere.
Sure.
And one of my famous stunts he did to get into the papers was that he claimed that his son was the strongest baby alive, and there was a photo of him as a 14-year-old. 14-year-old baby Richie holding up a
14-year-old baby.
Yeah, 14-month-old baby.
Oh, sorry, okay.
A 14-month-old baby.
He's the oldest baby alive. 14 months. 14 years and 3 months. I dare you to beat that record.
A 14-month-old Richie holds up an 8-pound medicine ball.
Oh, okay.
Which is very impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, at the he does that in the Daily Mirror.
Isn't that the mirror that you walk into a tent and it's like
big as that.
So he's holding up an 8-pound medicine ball.
Yeah, at the age of 14.
Right.
Which is very impressive. That's a year and 2 months.
I wouldn't, not that I would imply the Daily Mirror would stoop to the lows of fabricating a story.
Or the Butty would write an 8.
Or the Butty would, on a balloon.
Yeah. But he claims that by the time he's 21, he'll be strong enough to let a 1-ton tractor drive over his chest.
Yeah. Okay.
That's his big claim.
He's okay.
Give it the guts of 20 years.
Yeah.
I'll crush his guts for
money.
Yeah. But he's a great showman. He's a great man to sell things.
Yeah.
That's like, we should do that more for the podcast. We need more publicity.
Sure. I give it another year.
I'm driving over Kevin's chest.
No. I can't take it.
Yeah.
Take my son instead. Give me 2 years. I'll get a son and I'll beef him up.
But there's the time he pulls a bus up the road with one hand, while in the other hand he's pushing a child in a buggy. I assume that's his child. And that's probably young Richie.
That'd be rare to see back then. You wouldn't see men with prams.
A man pushing a pram.
There you go. That's progressive in his own way.
And they go, oh my God, wait, look at that behind him. There's a bus. You'd hope that was his own baby. He also, when Nelson...
Same people would still be complaining the bus was late.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be here 5 minutes ago.
But he, in 1966,
yeah,
on the week of the anniversary, the 50-year anniversary of the 1916 Rising, Kev.
Yes.
Nelson's pillar.
Yeah.
Was blown up by the RA and then by the army, who did a worse job.
Yeah.
He claimed that the head of Nelson was coming over to his pub, the Admiral Nelson.
Yes.
He told everyone that's we're going to bring it in here.
Nelson's coming home.
Yeah. He packs the place out. He has it absolutely heaving. Lads are drinking pints to beat the band. Wedged full of lads coming down. They're not really sure what they're going to do apart from look at Nelson's head.
Yeah.
And it's in a pub called the Nelson, so why not? They're drinking, they're eating, because Buddy's serving dinner, so they're probably all just having great crack, chatting about the good old Sackville Street.
Yeah.
And how the O'Connell ruined it. Then Buddy comes out later in the evening. Everyone's getting at that stage kind of like, where is this fucking head? Come on, Buddy. Stop. Yeah. We've had enough pints now, enough salty goujons. Bring out Nelson. And Buddy
there's only so far he could go with if you want to say a head, put the head in this Guinness. So, right. You can do that about 400 times before lads eventually be like, okay, but where is Nelson?
Come on, Buddy. We've all had 400 pints now. No, yeah, Buddy comes out and goes, lads, you'll never guess what's after happening. Some ne'er-do-well, some dastardly bastard is after stealing the head because we left it in a wheelbarrow outside the back of the pub last night. And a wheelbarrow's the perfect getaway vehicle.
It's alright, he's primed to go.
He's already thought about that, see, because if you said someone just stole it, how did they get it away? He's like,
in a wheelbarrow.
I shouldn't have left it in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah, but he also said it's been there since last night, which means, he didn't check all day.
Yeah, I've paid a lot of money to get it over. So,
yeah.
I have a feeling he never had it at all.
Jesus. Because we did that episode years ago about Nelson's pillar, but it did, because you
did say it did travel around.
It did. It did disappear. Yeah,
did the Dubliners had it?
Yeah. Well, that guy blew up the pillar, and then the army came in and blew up the plinth and knocked all the glass out on O'Connell Street, which I think is true because you can see with the pictures that all the glass is intact in one, and then later on it's not. But it all got scooped up by the corpo, and then the head went missing from DCC offices, and it went around. It did show up for a Dubliners gig. Because they have a song called Up Blew Nelson's Pillar or something like that, and it came on stage, and the same thing, they said they got a call down to the wherever, and they were like, if you want the head, we'll give it to you, and they brought it up on stage, and then it disappeared away afterwards. And there's also a video of like 4.
Yeah, it's still going around. Someone has it out there.
Because it showed up in like ads.
The Mary Wallopers
will probably get hold of it.
Yeah.
There's a very funny clip that I don't think we posted last time we did the story, but because it's the lads who have it, but they're like NCAD students. I think the thing was that one of their dads worked for the corpo or something, and they snuck in and took it. But they do a very trying to be threatening. They're all wearing balaclavas, but they're all like NCAD students, so they're just quite scrawny lads with home knitted balaclavas. They're a little bit too fashionable, and they're standing around Nelson's pillar head, and I don't know what their demands are at the time, but it's not unlikely that
to be allowed to drink on Drury Street.
Yeah, but it's not unreasonable that Butty would have had it for the day.
Yeah, that's fair. And maybe he did, and maybe someone did steal it.
Maybe someone did steal it.
Yeah, but he's a great man to turn a tail. Or else people would do it for him, I guess, because the story starts going around that the head, in fact, was there.
Yeah.
Because everyone who's already gone down and saying bought points, they don't want to be like, it was a waste of time. Everyone wants to go, no, I was there, and we all stood in line, and we took turns giving Nelson abuse over what he did in the past. What was that? I don't know. English.
Whatever he did, he shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. And so they all took turns yelling abuse at him. And a great night it was had by all. And then the legend spread far and wide that Buddy was a great man altogether.
And the head winked at me and it told me Churchill was wrong.
Another big thing Buddy would do he'd offer publicans 500 quid to fight him.
Yeah.
Just other publicans. He'd challenge them, and then if they didn't show up or didn't agree to it, that's a victory for Buddy. That's a win, because that lad right there is a coward.
That's a great way to get yourself out there.
And he did the same for the Cambridge and Oxford rowing teams. He offered them.
He'd fight them.
He offered him a tug of war.
Okay.
Your whole team versus me.
Yeah.
And they didn't show up. It's another win for Buddy.
That is another win for Buddy.
Yeah, and he tried to get it, so obviously he did one and then the other.
I did a tug of war over the summer.
I imagine he would be telling people, like, so I sent them an invitation to come and fight. Just don't send it.
Of course,
Just,
no,
yeah.
even. Yeah.
Who are you going to believe? The guy who had Nelson's pillar in his pub?
Or the guy who just turned down a tug of war competition. I did a tug of war for the first time in my adult life, I think, over the summer there. It's pretty hard.
Oh, it's
a lot more difficult than I assumed it would be.
Because it's very slippery ground, is it? Or are you in...
Yeah.
Is it all mud and that?
No, it was just grass.
Oh, okay. That doesn't sound that difficult.
See, it's just the same as all sports. You're like, give it a fair shot. Probably not that hard. Then you fall on your arse, like, actually, it's pretty difficult. Pretty difficult to do this thing that people train for the whole time.
Why isn't this in the Olympics?
Is it not?
I don't think so. The tug of war.
Tug of war. It's a big sport in the north. It's a big Ulsterman sport.
But never mind the north. Butty stopped a robbery in Dublin by throwing 6 men into the Liffey.
Okay.
And then one time he was down in the River Lee, and he was in the River Lee because they threw him in there in a tightly sewn sack, like a Houdini style escape. They threw Butty in, he managed to get out and swim to safety.
Okay.
Just another
day in the life of Butty Sugrue.
Yeah.
And go back to this, he stopped crime. I mean, he stopped a robbery.
He stopped a robbery.
The way you said it, though, it sounds like he tried to preemptively stop crime and he just threw 6 lads into the river.
They would have done something.
They would have done something. Yeah. You're safe, Dublin City. No problem.
No reason to thank me. Just go down to the pub next time you're in London. But he bought St. Patrick's Island.
Like, how was throwing...
He stopped 6 lads
and threw them into the river.
Well,
and they swam away.
Or who knows? But he murdered 6 men by drowning.
Thank goodness for you, Butty Sugrue. Those men were getting away with £20,000 in paper notes. Now, where's the bag? Floating off towards the Atlantic.
But or he used the money to buy St. Patrick's Island, which is the island there just off the coast of Dublin.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, he bought that and he wanted to...
There's
nothing out there. He's bought that. There's nothing out there. He was going to start like a commune. Can think of like a hippie commune, but instead of hippies, he wanted to start a health cult, or a group, shouldn't call it a cult, but he wanted to start a health cult where big men grow small and small men grow big.
Okay.
And then he said...
That's a Butty promise.
Yeah, and then he said he was going to
build...
Big
men grow small and small men grow big.
Yes. Which...
All, funnily enough, the same training regime.
I don't know how... at least one gym in Ireland doesn't have that as their slogan.
That's
Fly
great.
fit.
Yeah.
Big men grow small and small men grow big.
That is great.
Buddy said that he was going to build a 150-foot statue to St. Patrick out in the island as well.
Right, that's pretty big.
Just never did that.
No.
But he did get it.
Did he own the island at all?
He did. Because he tried to sell it to Ali when he was over.
He tried to sell it to Ali?
Yeah, he tried to sell it to Muhammad Ali. But he also said that he got it into the papers that Mick Jagger bought it. And then Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones had to come out and rubbish the idea. And he said to the paper that, no, I haven't bought St. Patrick's Island. I don't know what it is. And I've never met or heard of Butty Sugrue. Which meant Mick Jagger's in the paper talking about Buddy.
You're talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I mean, really, it seems like he's a marketing man.
He is.
More than any of the other...
He's a good marketing, which makes that's the problem with he's great at creating publicity, not so much great at selling tickets. Like that Jack Doyle fight earlier on didn't make great money, and when he'd be bringing lads over for boxing promotions because he'd get Henry Cooper and Joe Lewis, they came over and did like tours of Ireland. Didn't make like just a widespread mediocrity.
Yeah,
just not a whole lot of. They probably would have broke even or whatever, but people would have known the name Butty Sugrue, and it really feels like that's what Buddy was after. Because then again,
recognition.
Yeah, parlay it all into pints in the pub.
Yeah,
which isn't a bad idea. But natural salesman, but just not, and great promoter,
natural hype man.
But arguably he's best known for the Muhammad Ali one, and if he brought over Ali. They sold about 11,000 tickets, even though the cut-off point for breaking even was 30,000.
Yes.
7,000 lads came in at the last minute over Hill 16 without paying for it. It was a giant failure.
Yep.
But we got Ali on telly a couple of times, and it's great interviews. And go listen to the episode right there before Dev. One failed stunt that no one really talks about too much is he was going to stay in a pitch black cellar of a pub called the King's Head. I think he owned that one. So for 200 hours, he was going to go down there.
Okay. And stay in the cellar of his own pub.
Pitch black.
So, okay.
Stay in the
Dark.
darkness.
Yeah.
200. But he was stopped by authorities. He said
Pitch black is a bit of a
it is.
misstatement.
It would have been closed. The cellar door would have been
a
locked.
room that's dark.
It's pitch black.
Pitch black. It's as dark as pitch.
Yes.
Okay.
And the only for the authorities had to step in for safety purposes. They said it was too dangerous.
Fuck off.
Which makes it very hard to imagine what that they'd allow him to do what he did next.
Yeah.
There was a fella called Michael Meaney, who was a 33-year-old man from Tipperary who'd moved to Mitchelstown first in his youth before heading off to England to make it big. He did leave his wife and child back in Cork. He sent the money back to them. And also
they're not going to help him.
She was pregnant at the time as well, Alice.
Yeah.
So in Mitchelstown, he'd gained a nickname called the Human JCB because one time he lifted up a big rock or something that they needed moving from the road.
Nice.
He was a big fine beast of a man, 13 stone and over 5'8".
13 stone. That was before he started lifting another stone.
But over 5'8", so a giant.
A giant of a man.
Yeah. His dreams initially had been to be a professional boxer, like his idol Joe Louis, but they were scrapped when he suffered a hand injury after being stuck under a pile of rubble on a building site in Birmingham. He'd spent hours underneath the rubble, but he didn't.
Did they think he was a JCB as well?
It was like, well, you've used your name. It's like say not. Actually, lads, don't make the joke. There's a man underneath the rubble here, and he has a wife and child, and we know that's the most important thing.
Yes, he might have showed up on site and told everyone it was a JCB and then tried to lift the stones, but that's besides the point.
He spent hours under there, didn't panic, kept his breathing, used techniques to keep his breath still going, in and out and such. But Butty heard of this and then had the idea. Oh yeah, they came and rescued him. People pulled off the rubble eventually. He was down there for hours. He was grand. Well, his hand was crushed and he could never be a boxer, but he was alive. He was working for Butty in his pub, and Butty
is just on the phone calling of men called Digger and men called Shovel.
Don't forget your shovel if you want to go to work. He's like, I can't. I've got. Also, a one-handed barman then, I guess, as well.
Easier than one-handed boxer.
Yeah, I think his hand, I don't think it was like crushed. It's not cut off. So, and usually back then they would have cut something off if it's like, even today if it's completely crushed.
Sure.
Yeah, but anyway, regardless. Yeah. So he hears about this and he goes, I think I could market that.
Yeah.
And what he decides to market it as is at the set a world record for being buried alive, which was all the craze at the time. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Lads were doing it in fairy forts down in Ireland. Lads were doing it in America. Lads were doing it all through England. It was a new way to get into the world record books.
Right.
Without really doing...
And he's already...
It's easier to be buried alive than it is to be the fastest man in the world or the strongest man in the world. Anyone can have a go at this.
That's true. You just spend all day lazing about in bed doing fuck all. Well, I got the perfect task for you. Now, and he's already been buried under stones, which seems...
Exactly. He's got the breathing techniques. He knows he can stay calm. Mental fortress up there.
Yeah.
So at the same time, there's an American fella by the name of Herbert Digger Odell. He was the world record holder, having stayed down under for 45 days. Not in Australia, Kev. In the soil. And Mick thought he could beat that fairly handy.
Yeah.
One-handy. The coffin was bigger than usual, I'll say this. As in the 1900s, many undertakers used to sell coffins with big long air holes sticking out up through the ground because an extra space in the coffin because people were very worried about being buried alive.
Yes.
Which was a common thing, I've been told, at the time. It was there was something to do with embalming people.
Yeah,
different things that were going on, different poisons and such. Sure. Romeo and Juliet, remember that?
Of course, classic case of.
So the coffin was 7 foot long, and I'll guess the width and height because when I read online, it says it's too small for the videos that I saw. It's not. It is about 2.5, 3 foot wide.
Okay,
and probably maybe 2.5, 3 foot tall or something like that. He had an electric light in there. And a hatch that he could throw his piss and shit out of into a lime that had been cut out into the ground.
It sounds like luxury.
Yeah, also just a load of lime hanging around right beside the coffin.
Sure.
Probably not great.
Probably no more damage into your health than being buried alive for 70 days.
Well, there is that too. But also he'd have 2 6-inch tubes that were there to pass food and oxygen down. And also you could look down the hole at him because he'd have the light on so you could look down the big long hole. Oh, and now some people say he was buried 18 foot deep, which from all of the bits I looked at, it said between 7 and 11 foot deep.
Yeah, that's too deep.
Yeah, no need to be that deep. You're getting close to the devil at that stage. But so on the February 21st, 1968, he had a live-in wake. And his final meal upstairs in the Admiral Nelson pub before a lad called Mick Keane, who had a transport business about a quarter mile away from the pub. He lended them a truck, and Mick gets passed out the top window of the pub, lowered down onto the top of the truck. They drive over there, and they put him into a grave that Mick had already dug himself.
Okay. But so mixed, there's no way they're digging out 18 feet.
I know, that's just it's definitely 7 or 11 foot.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
But I don't want to talk shit about the documentary, but I already have done, and it's definitely just one of their family or some old guy who's forgotten exactly what it was in this.
18 foot
it must have been 18 foot. It was 18 foot if it was a day. Why you mentioning day? It was 18 foot. His morning routine consisted of him. He'd wake up first
in the coffin.
Butty gave him a list of exercises. He trained him up beforehand as well, but he gave him a list of exercises that he had, which would be like doing half push-ups because he wouldn't have the space to do a full one. And he'd do a little tossing and turning and moving around, tossing in his grave. Yeah, and then once he'd finished that, he'd throw that out into the lime as well. Yep. But then he'd rub himself with an ointment. He did that before the tossing. Yep, as some sort of like a deep heat or something to keep the muscles fresh and alive. Yeah, he'd have his food and tea passed down through the 6-inch.
He's coming out of this prison fit. He's not going down there for a holiday.
I'd say he's coming out the shell of a man.
Yeah, probably.
But he'd had food and tea passed down through the 6-inch tubes.
Yeah,
he'd have his breakfast out, and then he'd start reading.
Yeah,
the book about the fine art of boxing, and then also does newspapers, keeping abreast of
current affairs. What
was going on, and people would line up to chat to him.
Yeah,
but eventually it was a bit boring because I suppose they'd all ask him the same question:
"What's going on down there?
How are you down there? Yeah. How do you? Yeah." He's like, I'd rather just read
a bit slow. Yeah.
So one thing he did enjoy was Butty organised his idol Joe Lewis to give him a phone call.
Oh, nice.
And his well wishes and all of that, and that was good. He really enjoyed that.
Was it really Joe? Because I wouldn't trust Butty at all.
Joe already had Butty had Joe Lewis come over and fight in Ireland that time, so he would have had his contact.
Yeah, but he wouldn't just because he had him come over and do a paid fight.
Give the man some credit. He's dead, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm sure he could do a Joe Lewis impression down a tube.
That would be racist. To a man. But,
yeah, that's the only thing that Butty ever stepped a foot wrong on.
But he also, on St. Patrick's Day, he had there was music outside and there was Irish dancers. He couldn't see that, but there was dancers and they played music down to him and they had a sing-song. They passed him down a camera, put the photo of this up. He took a selfie down there and also drank a load of bottles of Guinness. So he had a great old Patrick's Day. The photo is cool. It's probably one of the world's first ever selfies, or definitely coffin selfies.
Yeah,
but Mike,
that sounds like a great St. Patrick's Day event.
Yeah,
so you just go get drunk.
And you stay away from the crowds as well. You don't go into the middle of the city.
I'd say it'd be packed.
Yeah,
to stand around a tube.
No, I'm saying no for Mick. He gets to stay away from the crowds. A solemn day for himself.
Yeah.
But Mick he had competition because I said over in the States there was Digger Odell. He'd met a lad called Country Bill White. Okay. And Country Bill White, who was a sometimes country western singer, and then usually most of the time a man called Bill White. He heard about Herbert Digger Odell doing this, and he thought, "Jizz, I could have a go off that, and I could set a world record as well." They went down into the ground at the same time, Butty and Country Bill. So they go down to the ground at the same time. He's over in Texas, I think. The race was on. Yeah. International news. So much so that on the 3rd of March, a transatlantic phone call was set up between himself and White over in Texas. And the BBC were there to cover it.
Push Bobby Kennedy's debt to the back page. We've got a race. The real space race. Forget about the race to the moon. Here is the race to the first man to, I don't know. What's the record they're trying to beat here?
45 days.
Let the Ruskies get to the moon. America's sending a man 6 to 18 foot under the ground first for 45 days.
They talk to each other on the phone and...
Oh, so they sent an international call.
Yeah, international call, collect.
The
BBC, I'm sure, covered this. They chat for a couple of minutes and they wish each other well, and then they get onto the topic of, because they wouldn't have much to talk about other than just like, oh, you're in a coffin underground as well. What's your coffin like? And then White said that his was damp and wet, and Meaney says that his was padded and dry. So White said he had it easy, and then Mick told him to go and fuck himself. He's been buried underground for quite a long time now.
He's getting annoyed.
No place for this. He said his coffin was tiny compared to White's. White's was way bigger, and White's was big enough to raise a family in. And that's a man coming from Ireland at that time. Probably right.
A damp, wet cave sounds like a dream.
People said that the back and forths were like that of a heated boxing press conference, and that the BBC had to cut it short and go to the weather to save some face, as the phone call had been scheduled to go on directly before Sunday services, the Songs of Praise. And it was the two lads cursing and blinding each other. And they were like, let's just go to the weather before we go back to mass.
Yeah. Right.
This created a big stir, and the news swept the UK and the USA, and it made it all the way back to little old Ireland, and also down to Mitchellstown and to Mick's wife, Alice, who he hadn't told about the whole burial escapade. So the first she would have heard about it.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he says in his defence that if he had told her, she wouldn't have let him do it.
She wouldn't have let.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
International news at this stage.
Yeah.
How has she not heard of it?
Now it's international news because of this.
What? Yeah.
So other than that, it was just is in London, and
yeah.
Yeah, it's just some lad. It would have been news around London, maybe, or that, but it's down in Mitchellstown. There's other stuff going on, Kev.
Sure.
Yeah, and then because she basically hears that there's like, oh, did you hear there's an Irish fella buried underground in London, and she might as well go. Oh, I wonder who that could be. She knows.
Jesus, yeah. If my husband ever did that to me, I'd say he may stay down there.
Nah, she knows because he was always chasing fame. He wanted to be a boxer. He wanted something he could hang his hat on. He wanted someone that, like, lasting legacy for the family or whatever. He always wanted to be internationally famous for something. Just like Butty. They say that she basically just was chain smoking then until the end of it. She was walking up and like just very quiet and didn't really, because you'd be worried because he's buried alive underground. And at one point a lorry comes into the yard.
Well, you'd be worried that he's meant to be over there making money for you and the family.
Because you have a kid on the way and one kid already out there. And he's...
Oh yeah, she's got a kid in the way and chain smoking.
Well, it was a different time, Kevin.
It was a different time.
Yeah, it was good for you back then.
45 days. That's the record to beat.
It's keeping the baby warm.
Yeah.
But,
it sounds like Butty mightn't have the only strongest baby. Once this smoky boy pops out, there'll be a contender.
Yeah, because it's a transport yard, big lorries would be driving in there.
Sure.
And at one point, a lorry starts reversing in, and this fella probably either forgot about it or didn't know because he was a long-haul truck driver who really knows, but that he basically nearly drove over the coffin. Oh. Some people say he did drive over the area where he's buried, but now I've seen some footage. It looks like there's a big giant canopy over the thing. You'd be mental to try and hit the thing, but it's still...
Could have happened.
News... worthy, and it gets it back in. If there's a slow news day, throw that in.
Yes.
People are talking about it again. Same for people who are talking about holes buried underground that lead all the way back to the Admiral Nelson, so you can sneak in at night time and have a feed and some pints, which is a quarter mile away. That would have been very impressive.
More impressive.
Yeah.
That's just rumours being spread by Country Bill.
Yeah, /
naysayers.
Getting people into the pub to check to see if there's any tunnels.
Oh, sure.
And if you're looking for a tunnel, do you know what goes well with that?
Yeah.
Pint of stout.
Yes.
But
it feels like a Seinfeld plot, though, that if that had happened and then the truck did crush the thing and everyone thought he was dead and he was just in the pub. He had to sneak home to his wife.
Just head home to his wife.
Yeah.
But
that was his contingency plan. If she doesn't know anything about it, if things go wrong, he can land back. All's forgiven. But now she's bloody... The BBC's blowing up his spot.
The BBC's blowing up his spot, as well as it's in the House of Commons.
Oh.
Because it's such a big news story now that it gets brought up there.
What year is this? Still 1968?
It's 1968.
Yeah. So, yeah. Just before Irishmen are starting to be talked in the House of Commons for many other reasons. Yes. This is a bygone time.
They're worried about the safety of the stunt.
Yeah.
Because they say it'll look bad.
Again, a time when the British Commons are worried about an Irishman dying in an unmarked grave. It'd look bad for the to the public.
But they're pretty worried about that because also it looks bad for them as a government to allow it to happen, and also for the...
I'll stop making the same joke again, but
Yeah. But also because they just, like the year before, whatever it was, when they'd stop people, the authorities got in the way to say you can't spend 200 hours in a in
Yeah.
a pitch dark cellar. A pitch dark cellar.
Pitch right. That's a dark room, but go on.
Yeah, that's too dangerous. But you could be
I
buried
don't think
alive.
that's true. Then
It is.
that the cops,
Butty wouldn't lie.
Buddy wouldn't. Yeah, the old Bob came down and told him he can't spend.
Told Bill.
Whatever. I don't know the names of the cops. Bill and Bob came down. Said you can't legally lock yourself up.
Yeah, I think more of it was like, we can't trust an Irishman to be in a cellar of beer for 200 hours. We'll definitely have a death on our hands.
Well, yeah.
55 days in the ground.
Yeah.
Now that's not as dangerous.
That's not as dangerous. It's contained.
He was only having pints on Paddy's Day. That's
Yeah.
actually he's probably one of the healthiest Irishmen in London. But 55 days into the stunt, word comes through that country Bill White, all the way over in Texas,
USA,
he's after giving up, and
Ha!
Michael was the new underground world champion.
Nice. What about the other fella, the third boy?
No, he'd done it before, got 45 days.
Oh, sorry,
And
he's the fella who set the record.
Yeah, the other fella he talked to him, and
Right.
But that wasn't enough for Michael, because you'd think that like I'd best him by an hour a day, whatever. I'd hop out. No, he's staying in to set a new record, so one that can't be beaten. 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61.
Okay.
I could keep going.
It's just to prove the
And I'm just prove it.
Yeah.
He better not get past 100.
When he got so many fingers.
Or else these shoes and socks are coming off. But yeah, so he does another 6 days in there. Gets up to 61 days, and then he's had enough now. Giant commotion. The bands, they come down, they dig him out, but it's a big old media circus. Duffy's media circus.
Yeah.
The bands are playing. There's the dancers were there. The media were out in full force. Mick came up and was meant to be greeted by internationally famous actress and singer Diana Dors, who was meant to give him a kiss, but because he was you'd imagine what the stench of a man underground
who's just been drinking Guinness
and rubbing oil on him,
and
living right beside a vat of lime, and shit and piss, she backs out of the whole kissing thing.
Sure.
So like a real man, Butty steps up and does it instead.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. They get him back to the Admiral Nelson, where a doctor checked on him, see if he's okay. He was passed the tests. Now, unfortunately, so they started drinking, having food then.
Amazing.
Now, unfortunately...
That's a great moment, I'd imagine, just like silence in the pub. And just a man, and again, I don't want to cast aspersions on Buddy, but probably a man he just took off the street and put a coat on and give him a stethoscope. He's got it to Mick's chest and hush across the whole pub and puts his hand up and says, "He's all right for pints." Hey!
And then they get
the next hour, £2 a pint.
He gets his first pint of Guinness and he takes a sip of that, and then the BBC go up and interviews, how does that taste? And Mickey goes, it is better at home. It's not the same. It doesn't travel well. Why are you drinking it?
Yeah.
What else would you be?
It's funny the things you miss when you're buried underground. Giving out about English pubs.
Yeah. Now, it sounded like it was a big old hootenanny.
Yeah.
Load of people around.
Yeah.
Media, fans, friends, everyone. It sounds like the only people who weren't there were her too. But the Guinness World Book of Records.
Oh.
They didn't bother coming down, which Mick to his dying days said that wasn't right.
That's not right.
Yeah, so it made the whole thing not illegitimate.
What?
Mick, for years, he felt this was very hard done by.
He just forgot to put the call in.
Well, in fairness, Mick did. He did admit that nobody had informed them that the record had begun or that it was ending.
Sure. That's their job to be on that.
The news was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't, they're meant to be on top of that.
You do have to tell them, though.
Well, what the hell are you paying them for?
He's not paying them.
Oh,
that's the thing.
Yeah. They're meant to be out scouting they're meant to be going door to door.
The interview, when you can find the interview online where he's saying it down, like he's older, he's living back in Ireland, and he's like, he feels very hard done by.
Yeah.
Goes, but I do have to admit that I didn't tell them. So he's very annoyed, but also I can see their point of view.
Yeah.
No one informed them.
Yeah. That's another classic lesson for the arts. Just sitting around complaining that such and such someone got picked for this or someone got booked for that, and no one ever gave me a fair shake. And to be fair, I never contacted or asked anybody anything.
Come in.
But
no
at the
one's
same
reviewed
time,
my show. Did you ask review? Oh, I knew I forgot something.
They should know. And again, this is for another episode we'll do eventually. But the two brothers who ran the Guinness Book of Records, very, very anti-Irish men.
Very anti. We've talked about this on another
A few of
episode.
them, yeah, with Ross and Norris McWhorter. This is probably before this happened, but they were pretty anti-Irish. And then in the 70s, I guess, one of them got kidnapped by the IRA and killed. I'd say now that didn't soften the other fellow up to the Irish at all.
Probably.
If you
not.
thought he was a bit aerophobic before, he didn't come round to us after the IRA stuff.
Would you... what year was that? I wonder if this
I
was...
don't know, but probably 70s or 80s.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't
So
have happened.
After Mick.
Yeah. It was an early... I think they kidnapped him for ransom money and then sort of accidentally shot him. Or he got shot. Yeah.
Oh.
But there's no point. You can't tell that to the brother. It doesn't make any difference to be like, oh, sorry about that. It was an accident.
We should do that as a story.
Yeah, it's not very funny, but it is very interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And if they they were anti-Irish, then it is funny.
It is
but
funny.
The next day, word comes...
It is funny, yeah, because all the Guinness records for Irish people is just like most drunk. You'll notice that no one ever won an actual record. There's like biggest fucking...
But then as well, the next day, seemingly word comes through that old country Bill White was a damned liar. And once the Yanks heard Mick was out of the ground, Bill stayed in for one more day. It came out 62 days in. New world champion.
That's a dirty American tactic.
Can't trust it.
What the hell?
18 foot underground. He's a dirty Texan, Kev. They're all the same.
They were just doing a trial for like what'll happen with the moon landing stuff. Just to be like, we give up Russia. Sorry about that. We quit. And then just hope they quit and make a break for it. Kubrick,
we've got a grave we need to get... yeah, we'll give you those lenses again. It says dark down there too, but it's a tough one to prove, I guess.
What? Surely it's pretty. But surely a phone call came in.
Yeah, I've read it online in a few different places. Some people say that he didn't do that. Some people say that he did lie and wait until 62 days in. But either way, it's tainted if you have to lie about it to try and trick someone to come out. So either he lied to beat the record, or he did come up after 55 days.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I would think that would be a pretty funny prank call to make.
Yeah.
To call in the day after Mick comes out and just be like, "Lad, you come on, you do a good American accent. You do it." It's like,
it was his wife.
She wouldn't.
Boy, howdy, it's me, Texas Bob.
Yeah.
Get out of the fucking ground.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, go home with your wife and kids.
Bye. How similar our cultures are.
There's something familiar about that old Texas Bill.
But Mick was the one who got all the fame. Rightly so. And after a round of interviews, there was talk of a world tour that never happened.
A world tour? Okay.
Him going around showing himself off had been the lad who was down underneath the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So circuses got big for less. There was talk of sponsorships, like one from Gillette.
Ooh.
The best a man can get. But by the time Mick heard of this, he'd already shaved off his massive beard.
Oh, that would have made more sense. I was wondering what the angle they would have.
Yeah, no, he had it because he'd grown his beard for 60 or something. I think he went down with a bit of a beard anyway, but then it was a big one by the time he came out. But so that was gone. One cool thing that did happen was that he managed to meet Luke Kelly, singer of the Dubliners.
Sure.
He came into a pub to play tunes, so and then Mick had busk with him in there.
Oh.
And they'd ask people for money to get him enough money to get home to his wife and kid, because he said that for the whole event he only made £100 all in. Which I know it's £100 back then, still not that much. It's not the 20s. It's now the 68.
Yeah.
So it's less, a pound and a bit a day, pound and a third, pound and a half, less than a pound and a half a day.
Yeah.
For what, and the people like Butty was making money from this.
For sure.
Mick dug the grave himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very little overheads from Butty.
Yeah, and he did say...
A lot overhead of Mick. 18 foot of dirt.
But Mick did say afterwards that the stunt basically ruined his life.
Was his wife not happy?
The wife wasn't overly happy now. As well as that he'd always said he would have spent the rest of his life kind of chasing that. He'd never... The height of the fame / the accomplishment and everything, you're always chasing the dragon.
He wrote a tell-all book, The Highs and the Lows, but it was just all reversed. The lows were the good bits. The highs was he is up walking around on the ground.
There was some talks of him about him and White being buried again beside each other. We'll know exactly who came out at the right time.
Yes.
And this time to be buried underneath concrete, and the winner would get £5,000.
That's a good deal.
But it never came to anything. Mick said he wouldn't do it again because it ruined his life.
Contacted Ross McWhorter to see if they could end. He said, normally I'd be right there for the burying of an Irish man, but not when there's money involved.
Not when there's a yank.
No.
But Mick said he wouldn't do it again because, it ruined his life. Which wasn't true because seemingly he did try it a couple of more times anyway, but nobody cared. The good is gone now. And that's the Mick passed away in 2003.
Okay.
Do you know where he's buried now?
I don't know. Right. Underneath the Admiral pub?
Cremated. Nah, no, they buried him. They wouldn't do it to him.
His last words were, not again.
Yeah, but it seemed like at the funeral, everyone was kind of laughing and winking and nudging each other and going like, oh, surely he'll break the record this time.
Yeah.
They said the priest even made that joke during the which is great. So it's definitely great. In Ireland.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because he moved home anyway. He got the money from the busking with Luke Kelly.
Yeah,
and
that got him back.
Yeah, he got back home with very little money to show for it and no real skills.
No
from
transferable skills.
He didn't make his fortune in London.
No.
But he was famous. But and then back to Butty. Yeah, Butty was famous, obviously, for helping Irish people in London. And because of that, he tried to run for a seat in the local council as an independent back in 1974 because he was against the building of the Channel Tunnel.
Okay.
He was anti-Channel Tunnel.
Why?
Or was it built then, or he was just against it anyway?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What?
It was a thing to get behind.
Against just more connection to France.
Yeah.
Or did he just think that there should be men down there digging that tunnel? Machines! They'd only make a hash of it. Give me and 5 men. Digger, JCB, Shovels O'Reilly. Get Bill White out of retirement.
But he didn't get in.
Yeah.
And that'll be the last giant big public stunt. And then we flash forward to 1977. At the ripe old age of 53, he was telling lads who were doing renovations on the Wellington pub in Shepherd's Bush how strong he was.
Okay.
And they'd be like, what, this short little man, yeah, he's very squat, but what could he do? And to prove
I used to be the strongest man in Ireland. Yeah, we all used to be something, buddy.
Yeah, he goes and picks up a fridge and straps it to his back and tries to carry it up the stairs. And then all the lads are there going, look at him, he's a great actor. He's pretending to have a heart attack. But he has a heart attack and drops dead and dies there on the spot. And it's quite a while before people realise that it wasn't real. And it's too late then. And Butty's dead. He's buried in an unmarked grave in Killorglin, which people only kind of found out a good while afterwards. And that was the end of Butty Sugrue, which is more impressive if you listen to the Muhammad Ali story. But I'm not going over all of that again.
Sure, that is it was a big collar for him to get, I guess, or a big job for him to get.
He'd need a big collar.
He'd need a big
very wide.
Yeah, just from lifting shit to be Muhammad Ali's booker and promoter.
And they own 4 pubs in London. That's a big old deal.
Is impressive.
At least 4.
Well, yeah, why did he try and strap the fridge to his back? Surely if he had lifted it with his teeth.
That'd be too tough. Come on.
Would have had
He's an old man. Dentures and stuff, I'd imagine.
53.
That's an old man for that time.
For that time, I suppose. That's unfortunate.
Especially with the amount of snuff he was taking.
Was he big on the snuff?
That was the big thing. He was he was non-stop on it during the Ali thing. He was very stressed. So, all the money he was losing. So they said he was non-stop going around just hoofing snuffs.
Oh, yeah.
He was a good man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that way, that's a nice little way now as a palate cleanser from 4 episodes about Eamon de Valera.
Yeah.
And now we're just back to a couple of fun episodes.
Just, back and forth. Fun, light adventures. Everything I've written for the next couple of episodes is very grim.
Fantastic. I'll write some more fun ones.
More fun. We need to balance it out.
Van Morrison, he's fun.
Get Van Morrison on.
But now to go and do some live standing-up comedy.
Yeah, that's very good. Good man, Butty. We should go down to Killorglin and pay respects to his grave.
We should do K-Fest.
We should go to K-Fest.
And we can do the story of Butty Sugrue.
Yes. But anyway, right. Good luck.
Shafter.